Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the casting panel here at the DreamHack Summer. It is myself, Odie Pixel, and of course, Draskell, joining me once again. It's been a while, Draskell. You know, been away for about a week from each other, and it's nice to finally have you back by my side, and what a game to be doing it to. Basically Unknown and Burden United. We're into the lobby now. The game has begun. The draft is underway, and you couldn't start the tournament with a game more fun than this. I mean, two great sides that there's a bit of banter between them. There's a bit of playful fun and kind of aggression, and you can never know what to expect from them because this could go either way in a best of one.
Yeah, and the scary thing is this is also going to decide, again, upper and lower brackets. So coming into this match, you really want to make sure that, as Cinderin said on the couch, you want to win so you can get yourself into an immediate best-of-3 scenario. You don't want to have to play BO1s and then, oh, I'm in the lower bracket now and I'm just facing elimination. That is definitely not the play. So looking at the draft so far, it looks like we are probably going to have a rehost, I believe, as I think production actually,
yes.
Yeah, he told us that. So we're going to go ahead and hop into another game really quick, so we'll be able to bring that your guys' way here in just a second. But as far as the match goes, it's interesting to me because both of these teams actually... Now, I talked to Come With Me earlier from Burden, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like,
Alex,
you know,
TI5
qualifiers just ended. Teams are
Yes.
kind of taking a break. You know, people aren't practicing quite as much as they used to. And then you have basically Unknown who weren't even a team. And then they were like, well, Empire had visa issues. Now we're going to reinvite you back. So I'm just curious, are they going to stick to the old game plan that we saw basically Unknown use before, which is, are we going to go for the Magnus? Are we going to go for our Disruptor picks, our Earthshakers? Are we going to go with that? Or are we just going to go for the meta picks and just pick like Leshrac and Queen and Shadowfiend and all these other heroes?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, you mentioned the guy Relax, obviously one of the newer additions to basically Unknown. We saw him in a few games back in the DreamLeague qualifying sections. Most of the time on the Earthshaker, which we saw some very promising performances from him on. So they've the side of Burden United, they've got to think very carefully about letting basically Unknown having the Earthshaker, I feel, because it's a hero that we know Relax, he loves to play, he plays it very well. And we're not too sure on his kind of performance on other heroes, so it's going to be hard to judge. And it looks like we are getting ourselves back into the game here, so we're going to give it another shot.
I think it was wrong first pick or something is why we rehosted the game.
Okay.
But, everything should be A-okay this time, and the ban's coming out. Burden actually first banning out Brood. That is a little bit interesting. Something that you don't see too often. Most of the time it's a third or fourth ban material, just to make sure that you don't get kind of lane destroyed by the hero. It's kind of one of those frustrations where it can happen in a third or fourth pick scenario if it ends up slipping through and you could all of a sudden have a really tough game on your hands. But we don't often see it prioritized this heavily.
I mean, yeah, exactly. It's one of those heroes that can slip through, really kind of mess with your draft. And while looking at Relax's profile, it is one of his stronger heroes, Broodmother.
Yeah,
I
mean,
competitive. So
respect banning a hero, it does make more sense, but I think it's very uncommon to pick a Brood in first too because you have a long time to adapt to the Brood pick in that case. And there's even a lot of heroes who are picked now just between the Shaker, of course, and then you have Darkseer as well, who is very prevalent, who just hard counter the hero in lane to a degree. And you could also go back and pick something like Axe if you really want to. It's just picking it early takes away from the purpose of the hero, which is to break the laning phase for the other team. That's why it's not common to see it banned. But basically, I know they're going to take out the Chen and the Wisp. Those are probably a little bit more what kind of stuff we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and to talk about used to seeing Burden United, they take up the Quap first. If it's going to be there, they're going to grab it. And basically Unknown, in response, they do pick up that Leshrac. And that's a hero that I don't think there's any teams ignoring at the moment. Everyone is prioritizing the Lesh pick.
He's kind of ridiculous. I think the Leshrac Disruptor opening 2 is actually what Nip just did against Taco Life when they were playing in the Esport SM Finals just a couple of meters away from our stage.
Yes.
So I think the opening is very good. It leaves you open to do whatever kind of lanes you want. You can still run any aggro lane depending on what Burden want to pick up as their carry player. So you have to make sure that when you're drafting nowadays, you pretty much have to pick these types of heroes first. Otherwise, your lanes could just potentially be too weak. So, for example, they're not prioritizing the heroes that they feel necessarily are going to be the best for the team as much as they're saying, I don't want to get lane countered really hard.
Yeah, I mean, with the Earthshaker, we're talking about it, the fact that, you know, it's going to be picked up by Burden United in the sense that basically Unknown, we know that Relax likes to play it. Burden United, they're going to take that one away from them. And it would also be something that's going to add very nice to kind of this play style that we expect to see from basically Unknown, because they love their 5-on-5 engagements with the kind of heroes that BU pick.
Yeah, Wombo Combo is something that whenever you have a player like Arise who specializes in Magnus, like you're going to learn how to play that style.
Yeah.
Like, you know, okay, well, we're going to find our big Echo Slams or our Darkseer, like vacuum into walls and then Disruptor ulti on top of that. There's a lot of fun things that you can do with it. But Burden, their second pick here is going to be the Shaker. I think it's a very solid hero. The second pick material, we saw a little bit of this in the TI qualifiers. It seemed to be hit or miss. Like As an off-lane hero, I think I like it a bit more than a support. As a support, it kind of means you're all in on your fissure, and if you don't get it, then you kind of have to go back for your like 15, 20-minute like Arcane's Blink Dagger or something like that, which sometimes can turn a game, but sometimes it kind of falls short. So I'm kind of hoping it will be in the off-lane role, if anything. And it doesn't give away too much of what Burden want to do just yet. They're just two really strong opening heroes, and the Queen and the Shaker. Pretty much the same can be said for basically Unknown's draft too.
Yeah, I mean, the third ban from basically Unknown, another hero that Burden United socks. He's an absolute master on the old offlane Spirit Breaker, so taking that away from them. And Burden United, interesting enough, they ban out the PL. It's a hero that we know that Sing Sing loves to play, and he had an insane win rate with it in the Dream. It was something like over 80%. But this time they actually take it away from BU, and that's going to give basically Unknown the opportunity to pick themselves up the Gyrocopter this match.
I think already having Leshrac is a pretty big deterrent to picking up PL. Now, I know Sing does favor going for the BKB on Phantom Lancer a little bit earlier than maybe other Phantom Lancer players do, but I would also say that it's just amazing against illusions, and they also have Disruptor. So if you didn't make BKB in that PL, you would be having a very sad time. And there was also another hero in the pool, Gyrocopter, which basically a known pickup right now, still very favorable in this particular patch at this stage in the game, and still very good against the Phantom Lancer. But Burden, they're going to go with the I don't really want to fight you method in picking up an AM, and this is a very early AM pick. Now, picking AM third into Leshrac, Disruptor, Gyrocopter, they're assuming that this Lesh is going to be mid already, which is a fair assessment, because between the heroes, you kind of have to send either the Leshrac or the Gyro mids, and Lesh is a much better mid. So that means that they can pick another support with this Gyrocopter Disruptor to end up going aggressive. I wouldn't even hate to see something like Ancient Apparition, just because it's extremely good in aggressive situations, and it's very good mid-game to just be a nuisance to AM. It's also kind of a semi-counter, because once you reach that shatter threshold, you just die, regardless of whether or not you have the magic resistance or not. So it is a pretty good hero. But then they would kind of lack disables, so instead they're going to go for the Ogre Magi, which does bring you another lockdown, and the Bloodlust for your Gyrocopter core.
Absolutely buffing him up, and Ogre Magi is a bit of a weird one. I kind of feel we don't see him as much as we did kind of in the past. I mean, what's kind of changed that's made Ogre Magi more of a very situational pick for teams?
I think it's more of a tendency that teams don't always lane against each other anymore. Like, you don't see a whole lot of tri-lane versus tri-lane situations. A lot of it's dual lanes, and even in that sense, I feel like Ogre is a lot weaker, where right now, if you send it as an aggressive Disruptor, Ogre, Gyrocopter against the anti-mage lane, the Ogre can almost single-handedly zone out the supports of Burden, like depending on who they pick. Now, if we say that Earthshaker is going to be support in the tri-lane of Burden, which I seriously doubt, because I think the Shaker would just be useless, I don't think he would do anything, then like Ogre can just run into him and zone him, right? But if you send the Shaker off lane, maybe you pick two decent supports for the AM to actually be able to farm his lane, you'd probably be in a little bit better shape right now. But the AM pick is still very... It's odd. It's just not common. So I'm curious as to how they're going to deal with this basically unknown draft.
Now, Kotl is going to be the fourth pick for Burden United. I mean, already just looking at the potential of maybe a Kotl Earthshaker dual lane or something. I mean, they could certainly look to do something like that in this kind of lineup.
They have very good spam. Yeah. Like, that's the one thing about Burden's lineup, is their laning phase might not necessarily be crazy strong, but they can delay the game for a very long time, assuming they don't just get run over in the first like 10 to 15 minutes of the game. Now, looking at basically Unknown's lineup, that is some serious snowball potential. Like, Glimpse can always net you bonus kills. If Burden ever tried to defend a tower and basically Unknown are pushing in, you end up getting out of position, you give away an extra kill. Stuff like that can very easy snowball you into a very poor situation as a team with an anti-mage who's going to need like 1 or 2 items to be able to fight. But if they can buy themselves the time, I think the AM pick will work wonders for them during the mid-late game. Obviously, fantastic returning Leshrac into like a nuclear weapon against his own team. You get enough mana, you just mana burn him down to nothing, and just boom, entire team explodes. That kind of stuff can happen, but it takes time.
Yeah, I mean, with the mana leak as well, and the fact that, I mean, Leshrac, he does get a BKB, but he likes to prioritize other items like the Bloodstone and like the Octarine, perhaps the Aghanims normally. Yeah. I mean, maybe in a situation like this, do you think we could expect to see Lesh being forced to pick up a BKB earlier?
I don't know if he would want to get it early. Okay. At the very least, you want one item that gives you some sort of sustain. Like, regardless of whether it's a Yule's, which I think a lot of the Chinese teams likes to do, or you could go Bloodstone and then into a BKB. That seems more reasonable. But first item, you would have to expend your entire mana pool and then just go back to base like every single time. And then you can't even use your spells to farm.
And now, final pick for the side of basically Unknown. Looking at what we've got come out from them so far, is there anything we can expect? It's going to be the Tidehunter as their final pick. And
so they really want to fight.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying it at the start. Basically, I know that's what they love to do. And, I mean, with the Ravage cooldown, Static Storm combination, throw a Leshrac in the middle of it all, there's a lot of potential from this lineup.
Yeah, their team fight is actually insane. Now, I'm wondering, a lot of games, Leshracs usually max stun and lightning. I'm wondering if he'll go for the 1-4-4 build, where he goes for 1 stun and then maxes Edict. Because with this team, the one thing they're lacking is the real ability to kill towers quickly. But if they had that utility of Leshrac Edict, and they also had this amount of team fight, I think it would be very difficult for Burden to find good engagements, at least for the early game.
And here we go then, the final pick for Burden United. Looking at their lineup, I mean, do you think we could expect to see a dual lanes, or do you think this is still going to be maybe even the off-lane quad? We know that, you know, Sox, he also likes to pick up the hero. I mean, how are they gonna switch this one around? Or do you think they'd like to keep the Quap in the mid against the Lesh?
I think you kind of need quad mid. Nothing else can lane against it. The problem is, even if you put a dual lane mid, you put like Coddle there with an AM, for example, or a Coddle Shaker, the Leshrac still farms. Like, you're not stopping him no matter what. So the best case scenario is to put it in a 1v1 where you're not putting another hero there just to soak EXP for no reason and not slow down the Lesh at all. Now, they could pick another hero that could try to gank him, and then we just assume that it's going to be offlane Shaker. But a Coddle +1 roam is not really that threatening either. But if the Queen gets a dagger, maybe you could look for a kill. I think Burden, for the early mid game, are gonna struggle. That's my guess.
10 seconds remaining.
We'll see. Here we go to the final 10 seconds as Burden United. They're gonna pick up the Darkseer.
So what is support Shaker then?
And didn't mind us and come with me is going to be on the Keeper of the Light. Well, here we go, getting ourselves into the first match here at the finals, the LAN Finals of DreamLeague Season 3 with Burden United and Basically Unknown. And the lineup so far, I've got to say, with these lineups, there's a lot of wombo combo potential.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Burden is the Shaker and the Coddle are going to need levels very badly. Because if you can get a high level Fissure, or at least like 2 or 3 points into your Illuminate, you should be able to hold your towers for a decent amount of time before Basically Unknown are able to just kind of to walk on you. But again, if Basically Unknown get off on the right foot, it's going to be so difficult for that train to be stopped.
Indeed, so we're going to see the sides come into the game, and well, they don't really need much of an introduction. Worth noting though, 3012 is a rise.
Is a rise,
It
yes.
is a rise. It
He
is not
could
a
not
standard.
change his official tag because he changed it some time ago. I think there's like a week or something, I think, between when you can change your professional in-game name. I can't remember exactly how long it is, but it does take a while.
We are just going to have an unfortunate pause here, but do bear with us because we're going to be having a very exciting game on our hands. And we've got to stress, it is indeed best of one. This places you in the winner's bracket or the loser's bracket, and it's a big difference. You know, going into a tournament like this, if you win this, it's one best of 3, and then the winner of that goes straight through to the next stage, where you'll join the likes of VP and Alliance.
Yes.
Two other teams that were finishing at the top 2. Well, they didn't finish top 2. Empire, obviously.
Empire were there,
higher,
but then, yes.
It goes down.
Alliance got subbed in for Empire.
Yeah. So, right, here we go. We're getting ourselves in and we're ready to go, and it looks like we're going to see the side of Basically Unknown. Well, making a walk straight into the enemy jungle here, seeing if they can find anything from the side of Burden United. But Burden United, they've got their priorities down here on the bottom, looking for this bottom room. So it doesn't look like we're going to see too much of a level 1 kind of engagement between these sides. And I mean, look at it, Basically Unknown, they're heading straight up to the top lane. They really want to find someone here. They want to try and find something here. I mean, at the same time, it's interesting to see they have popped down a ward, and I guess, you know, against the side with a Darkseer and a Coddle, there's a large likelihood that Burden United are going to be looking to utilize their jungle.
Well, that's, I think, what Basically Unknown are looking for is we need to make sure that there's no stacking going on. Because again, if the Shaker and the Coddle get levels, then all of a sudden, like between Come With Me and My Nuts, you have a lot of spam. And that means that the tier 1 towers become significantly more difficult to push into. And I do feel that an AM and a Queen can go late game in this particular scenario. It's just going to be hard. I think that Burden might have been better off just waiting in the AM pick, maybe even like 1 or 2 more, like 3rd or 4th pick instead of taking it 3rd, because then it just gives away so much of what your lanes are going to be. If anything comes back to bite Burden, it's going to be that pick, at least at that point.
I mean, lane-wise, it's pretty much what we're expecting. It is going to be, of course, the Darkseer on the off-lane, and Sing Sing will be on that safe lane anti-mage. But no, Unknown, they are going to run this aggressive tri-lane against the anti-mage, and well, with the kind of lineup they've got, this is probably the best bet from them.
This is the only thing they can do. I mean, if you're Basically Unknown, you're looking at that AM pick and you're saying to yourself, how bad can I punish this with one of the tankiest supports in the game being Ogre Magi, who has the potential to just zone out really anyone on his own. We got Shamanin on Disruptor, who's going to be able to find support off like pulling or something like that, which they even warded the camp. So they really don't want Burden getting anything out of this tri-lane at all. This is kind of the worry that I had, was in this early stage of the game, the only lane that is going to go even close to I think to even is going to be bottom lane, because I think Latrak is even good against Queen mid. But I guess that one's more dependent on player skill too.
Oh, we're having a pause, but there is a wraparound coming in towards the mid lane. I mean, Disruptor. He's looking for some kind of action here. And the question is, well, does he punish Necro? Because look how deep Necroman is. He's going for it here. He wants to find something against Arise. I don't quite know if he's going to be able to get away from it.
I think he might just want to throw out a dagger. Like that creep's going to get hit a few more times by the tower, and then he'll probably throw a dagger if Arise turns around to throw out a CS. It's just like maximizing your harass, because when you know somebody's going for a last hit, then they can't physically attack you and the creep at the same time unless they want to use a spell, which in his case is only a level 1 lightning. So he's level 2, which means he can't possibly have level 3 lightning. So if he hits the creep, he gets staggered, takes damage. Just mid stuff.
I mean, talking about so the bottom lane Darkseer against the Tidehunter, obviously not a nice lane for the Tidehunter, but he should be able to still find something against the DS. But he's not going to be able to stop the DS from farming as well as the Darkseer does. But then again, there's not a lot of heroes that can shut down a Darkseer.
They both farm. Yeah, I mean, that's the real thing. It's one of the few heroes that Tide, as another melee, actually struggles against. And see a glimpse here. Middle lane.
Oh, Necroman is surviving on about 15 HP. Arise is trying to find him. He hasn't got mana for anything else, but he doesn't need it. The final little right click is going to be able to punish Necroman there for overextending in the middle lane. Yeah,
Shamanin on top of his game there, being in the right place at the right time. And it was very needed too, because Arise was kind of struggling in the first wave or two. He was not doing well on CS, but he'll be able to recover. Not only that, but he gets to his bottle for free, whereas Necroman, did he actually get his, or is he? No, he's broke. He does not have bottle right now, so that does hurt.
And the CS fairly even, but that kill pretty much telling the story. Top lane. Oh, we're going to see a bit of a fight there for the rune. Disruptor will still be able to grab it as Minus just throws out a simple Fisher. And I'm looking at Sing Sing's farm so far. He's managed to find 7 CS in the lane at the moment, just behind the Gyro. But, I mean, there's not a massive difference between these two heroes. The anti-mage is still finding something at the end of the day, 2 minutes in.
Not at the moment. There's not a huge difference. The main thing is, if you see a support ever rotate from this lane, and it becomes a 3 versus 2, that's the trade-off that you're making is basically known. We help win mid, which, again, looks like Stomanin's looking for a glimpse, but this time he will not be able to get in range for it. Every time he does that, it means that Sing is going to farm.
Indeed, they were just hoping for the split earth to connect by the looks of it, and it's still just 1-0 at the moment. Top lane trying to stop this Sing, but well, doing well. 9 CS and this kind of game. Well, Pure Evil maybe looking for a kind of route. He's found Cottle here, and they're still kind of just counting each other out. Stomanin has now returned to the lane. Does have a glimpse available. Is he going to be able to get it? No, can't quite get the vision. Sing is going to make the max leap there back towards his town. So he's going to be A-OK. And now we're seeing a rotation actually from the Earthshaker coming towards the mid lane. They've got this dagger onto Arise. Can the ES find the Fisher? He's trying to move in close, but I just can't get in range of it. And Arise is going to be able to keep himself alive there in the mid.
I mean, killing him is going to be pretty difficult. At daytime, especially, trying to gank this particular lane coming in from, like, low ground or even on the same ground. He's going to spot out the Shaker. Oh, nice block, though.
Yeah, it looks like Arise came in for a bit of action, but he might get punished for it. He's trying to turn around here onto Necroman, but the damage is not going to be there. Arise will lose his life, and thanks to the rotation from the Earthshaker, Co-op able to get herself back on the board and pretty much evening out this mid lane situation.
I guess he just must have not seen him, because when he walked to the low ground is when Minot was actually coming in from the other side anyway, so just really nice positioning there from the Shaker, managing to get a fairly important kill. But as you mentioned, the Gyrocopter is not really pulling ahead of Sing by that much. I think a lot of it has to do with the Coddle blasting so far that Come With Me's been throwing out. Most of the time when you see Coddle blast, it kind of clips the wave, but if you just do it so it only hits heroes, the damage that he can put out by himself is pretty substantial, and he's already level 3. So you can see, like, he only hits the range creep there. So it's not like pushing out the entire wave, it's just trying to get some harass out onto the Gyro to ensure that Sing has space to farm.
Bottom lane, Parrish trying to be as annoying as he can here with his 3 points in the Iron Shell. And trying to skip the creeps out as well. But as you're saying, Relax still able to find stuff. Darkseer has got the edge, but I guess that's expected.
It's a pretty big edge, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 CS difference of 4.5 minutes, that's huge. Like, Sakshka is crushing this lane.
Oh, the drawing's coming out on the map here. Ogre Magi is going to look for Look for something pure evil coming round. He's ready for the counter gank to the gank because My Nuts sits here on the high ground. He's now, well, they've spotted each other. Now My Nuts, what's he going to do? Well, he's going to take a fire blast to the face. And now here's Arise here coming in with the haste rune. The Fisher will come out from My Nuts. Now Necron, he looks for a Sonic Wave, but he whiffs it. It's a nightmare, and My Nuts will go down as Arise is able to find out. He might find more here. Indeed, Necroman, he can't blink anywhere. He's got an empty ball. He's got nowhere to run. With the fire blast, the lightning coming down onto his head. He'll go down as well. It's going to be a double kill for Arise. And Birding United just... a lot of things not going their way in that little engagement.
That fissure was pretty heartbreaking, and so was the fact that he didn't manage to land his nukes. I think he was trying to scare Arise because I'm not even sure that burst would have killed him. Bottom lane.
Bottom lane, Relax. He's got to use the Ravage here to stop Paris, and Paris is searching. He's not going to go in for it as Relax has began to salve back up. And both heroes just getting low, and lucky to have that Ravage there. It pretty much only just hit 6 there, otherwise he would have been in a lot of trouble there with that Darkseer.
Yeah, at least he's able to keep himself alive. It's not too bad to use Ravage like that if you just want to make sure that your tower is not going to be taking extra damage, but I think he could be in some trouble anyway.
Indeed, Paris is going in. There is going to be the backup of Stamana, but for the side of Birdie United, they've got My Nuts. He'll pop the fish down to Relax, and the Tidance is going to go down. Can Stamana find the kill in return onto Paris? It doesn't look like it. Paris has got the surge. He's going to be well out of there, and it'll just be a clean kill there for the side of Birdie United, taking down the Tidance.
That glimpse actually saving Sakshika in that position. That was... I mean, I understand why he did it. He wanted to just make sure that Iron Shell wasn't going to deal any more damage, but that was a 100% dead Tide. And if he just held it to make sure that he could glimpse back instead, they might have been able to get a counter kill. But a little bit of misplays here in the early game from both teams, but nothing too major. Just back and forth kills.
Sing Sing's got a bit of space now as Gyrocopter has actually headed down to the bottom lane to look for some farm. So they've kind of switched it up here. Mid lane, Arise in position with the Invis rune. He's got the backup of the Ogre and the Disruptor in the nearby, and Necroman's got to be careful, looking for the split up Arise. He's holding onto it here. So Necroman will just back off, and it's going to be okay for the time being. Nico Baby, though, he might not be okay. They're coming in with a fish. He's going to put the Rocket Barrage. Rocket Barrage versus Iron Shell, which is going to do more damage. It looks like Paris is going to have the edge, the duration, and with that, they take down Nico Baby here on the safe lane. And well, he switched up the lanes, left the top lane to come down to the bottom, but you're not going to have fun against the Darkseer and the Earthshaker.
That range creep also didn't help either. It's like, I want to help you hit him. Oh, wait, I actually just blocked your pathing, and now you're dead. Yeah, I mean, he was probably going to die anyway, but it was just kind of like insult to injury in that position. But the fact that basically Unknown have had to kind of disassemble their aggressive trial lane and even middle lane, Arise.
Indeed, going straight in with the Fisher, the slow, and now with the Sonic Wave, bringing him low. He's trying to bottle up through. He's going to look for the TP out of My Nuts. He's got the Enchant Tome with the Aftershock. They'll be able to bring him down there in the mid lane. That's going to be another kill there for Birding United, bring it to 4 for 3. And, well, Paris, he's going to find Pure Evil and give him a bit of a rundown here. Nah, he's going to leave it. Doesn't want to go deeper. Knows that Nico Baby is, of course, in the region on that Gyrocopter.
It's a very chaotic early game so far from both teams. They don't really know on the side of basically Unknown what they want to do for their lanes 100% anymore, because it's only 8 minutes in and they've already like fully rotated off to what you would expect to see most of the time in these types of lineups, where the supports and the carry have both gone bottom, and now you have your Tidehunter just kind of sitting in the off lane with his Arcane's finish. But I still would say that this particular situation favors Burden, like pretty significantly actually. Just because Sing is ahead of the Gyro in terms of farm. If he gets to Battle Fury, he will continue to outfarm the Gyro for the foreseeable future. And then, all of a sudden, you have an AM who is like free farming instead of the AM that you were supposed to hold down. So I would say everything considered, Burden have gotten out of this early game relatively well.
Oh, it's going to be a glimpse on Paris, bringing him back into the jungle now with the Fire Blast, the Rocket Barrage. They're bringing him low and they're bringing him down. They'll get the kill there onto the Darkseer. And again, Stamanen with the plays, with the glimpses.
Yeah, they're able to kill the Darkseer, which is nice, but again, it's not really about how much can you kill the Darkseer. A kill is a kill, sure, but it's more about can you stop Sing, and this Tidehunter going to try to TP out here.
Yeah, there's going to be the Enchant Totem there, getting the passive off, and it looks like Relax is trapped. Sing will claim the kill there with the Mana Void. He wants the gold, he wants the glory, and now, well, that's going to put Sing at the top of the net worth on this anti-mage.
I gotta say, the Coddle has been the one who's been making this lane work for me, personally, because even back at the very start where we saw that lane and it seemed a little bit iffy, it was Come With Me and the Illuminate spam that was able to keep those heroes at bay and ensure that Sing could continue to farm, even in a situation where I don't know if any other support could have done that for him. Like, what other hard support could actually zone out that many heroes on his own just by sitting in fog and spamming? Like, that's a pretty powerful utility, come to think of it.
Mid lane, Rise is going to be a bit careful. There's going to be a wraparound from My Nuts, looking for the Fisher, but can't quite get the edge. Rise just keeping himself safe and sound. as he backs towards the south. And Paris actually heading away from the bottom lane now. And what's the plan here with the Darkseer, going towards the jungle for a bit?
It's possible. The thing about Darkseer is his flexibility it's up there with some of the best. I mean, he can jungle if he wants to. He can continually gank. And I find it interesting that he's actually opted out of any points in a vacuum thus far. Like, he's gone for the max Iron Shell and 3 points in a Surge, but top lane, looks like they want to try to kill this AM. It's a tough kill, though.
Relax, he's got the Ravage. And of course, smoked up here. How are they going to lead in here? Well, not the Anchor Smash, but Sing Sing. He realizes they're off the map. He's playing it safe, and yeah, it's just going to blink back to the tower. He doesn't like it one bit, and rightfully so. There's both of the supports. They were looking for some action, and even with the 3 points in glimpse, not quite the range there to catch out the AM. They've got the ward placed behind the tower, ready for those kind of movements.
Now that's also a smoke down as well, so that does hurt, basically unknown. It's not to say that they need to end the game in like the next 10 minutes or anything. It's just dealing with a farmed AM is always harder than dealing with a not farmed AM for obvious reasons. It's just the longer the game goes, the more impact Sing is going to have on the game. And the other thing about Anti-Mage is that he's so independent of his team once he gets his 2 core items. Like, if he gets Battle Fury Manta or like Battle Fury Vlad's, like Yasha even, he can just do his own thing, and the rest of his team can concentrate on their own game, and he'll just continue to accumulate mass amounts of money. So he's kind of like a ticking time bomb in this case.
Nico Baby now with the life steal on board, just backing off into the jungle. But there's going to be actually rotation from Birdie United coming into the jungle. Paris and Nuts, they want some action. They're going to walk into the Ogre Magi. He's going to be able to get the Fire Blast onto Nuts, but the wall's being dropped now with the Fissure. Ogre Magi's going to drop. Necroman gets the Sonic Wave onto 2 with the right clicks. Will bring down Nico Baby as well. And he's looking for more now with the slow, with the dagger onto Shadowman and the Scream as well. But it might be himself in trouble. No, he's got that haste rune. Necroman's going to be all right. He's going to be able to get himself out. No, the Glimpse is there into the Ravage. They want to bring down this quad. They also caught Paris and Nuts on the edge of the Ravage, but they're not going to have the vision. They're not going to be able to chase those ones down. So they lose 2, but at least they find something in return, bringing down the Queen of Pain.
That was a very nicely timed Ravage, by the way. That wasn't even enough to even start a blink. Like, he was just stunned as he got glimpsed back to the origin of his character. But I still kind of wonder, like, these types of engagements where you're kind of losing your core every single time that they come on your side of the map, and Sing is up here, like, what is your fallback mechanism for basically unknown? Because you're supposed to be fighting, right? Like, they're supposed to be fighting as 5, Gyrocopter is a good fighting core, Leshrac is a good fighting core, and then you have Ravage, but they used the Ravage to kill a Queen of Pain, and they still lost their core. They might be able to get Sing, though.
Yeah, absolutely. This time getting a glimpse into the Static Storm. He's got a couple of points now, boosting magic resistance, and it's not quite enough there, as Ogre Magi is able to Sing. And that's a big kill. That's the kill they've needed. Come With Me's coming in with an Invis rune. He's going to need a bit of backup here. Ping's coming out on the tower. And it is actually going to be Necroman joining the fray here, and maybe they can go for something. Pure Evil's going to spot this one out. Now with the TP from Nuts coming in, now he's got enough mana here for the Echo Slam, but the fight's actually going on south as well. Pure Evil's going to try and TP out. Oh, no, he's going to be able to get out. They've got nothing to cancel it. And it looks like no one's going to die. Nico Baby's TPing out. Necroman's coming in. He hasn't got a Sonic Wave, so the burst damage isn't there. Relax. Just chilling in the trees.
Oh, they assumed he TP'd away.
Yeah.
They might have seen a teleport in his inventory and just guessed that he probably teleported out, but I guess that's going to save him, even though his TP's on cooldown for another 20 seconds. So fortunate for basically Unknown not to lose another hero.
And interesting to note, after all this kind of action, it's no longer Sing Sing at the top of the net worth. It's actually a Riser on the Leshrac with over 5k.
Yeah. The Leshrac, though, is one of those heroes that...
Nico Baby.
Yeah,
Cheeky wall there. He's hanging around a lane a little bit too low, and Paris, well, he comes in to take advantage of that one.
Yeah, the AM is going to be very strong against the Lesh, though, for a lot of reasons. Not just because Lesh has a ton of mana and you can mana void him, but you have Spell Shield, right? So most carries are almost forced to buy BKB against that hero, where AM will likely only buy BKB if he feels the stuns are what are actually killing him, because otherwise he'll just make a heart. And then it becomes very difficult for Leshrac to burst him down in general. And then Queen will probably also be able to make a BKB. So Leshrac during the mid-late game, he does kind of fall off in terms of his damage output to the cores. But to the supports, he always does insane DPS.
Indeed. I mean, Come With Me's progression's been pretty impressive as well on the Keeper. He's got the point booster, and well, he's about 200 gold away from picking up the second component of the Aghanims. So basically Unknown trying to go in and ahead. Well, they're going to find the vision onto Sing Sing. They will be able to get a glimpse out. And now all the burst damage is should be enough. The Ravage as well as going to catch all 3. They found Sing Sing. Necroman's trying to turn it around, but the damage isn't there. No one fully on the side of Basically Unknown, and Birdie United losing 2. We talked about the potential of the one-way combo from Basically Unknown, and when it comes to team fights and these guys are focused, they're very good at this.
It's a really easy combo to set up too, because as soon as you get the Thunder Strike, the hero should pretty much be dead, right? You Thunder Strike for vision, the AM is almost forced to blink away immediately. If he doesn't, he just gets Static Stormed anyway or stunned by the Ogre. And then if he does blink, he gets glimpsed back into a guaranteed Static Storm and a Kinetic Field, which lines up your other disables. So the combo is there for basically Unknown, and that's what I was kind of saying. I really enjoy it when they take this aggressive fighting style more than I like watching them farm, because the more they farm, the more time it gives Sing to continue to get items. But I guess right now he's about even net worth with Gyrocopter, a little bit higher, like 600-700. Not a huge margin, but he still doesn't have Battle Fury yet.
Yes, I mean, once he gets that, the farm's just going to increase at an exponential rate. At a rate that's going to be hard for the Gyro to keep up with. Unless they find the amount of team fights that they've been doing so far, basically, they've been able to include Gyro in a lot of the action, whereas Burn United, as you said, they've kind of been keeping the fights, or at least trying to keep them away from Sing Sing. I mean, the net worth difference at the moment, just over 3k, XP-wise around 5k, still favouring the side of Burden United. And they do have this edge, and a lot of it as well down to the fact that Sox, of course, on the Darkseer, 6.1k gold. He's got the mech complete. He's looking very, very healthy. And there's going to be a point where you've got here items like the mech on Paris, and you
that's
can have
an early blink.
Indeed, I mean items like this as well. It's going to mean that when basically they're going to look to fight, Burden United are in a very good position to just turn around and give them a bit of welling.
Yeah, the early blink on the Shaker is going to be absolutely huge for them, because the way that they've been playing it so far, they pretty much drop everything on Sing. Like, they have to. They have to Static Storm to prevent blink. They have to glimpse and Kinetic Field just so they can go for the kill. But now, with Minots having a Blink Dagger, the counter initiation with the Queen on top of that, their AoE combo is now online. So basically, Unknown need to be very, very cautious about how they take the next few engagements.
What we're going to see, very deep in the jungle at the moment, is actually the Kotal. All alone. He's going to TP out, and it looks like he will get away. No, the glimpse is going to be there because there was a TP in from Stamana coming into the tower to ensure the Come With Me doesn't get out. And, Kotal, I think he was hanging around a little bit too long there in the wrong jungle.
Yeah, at first it looked weird, but then I realized that the Disruptor had TP'd to the tier 2. I was like, wait a minute, he didn't just cancel that in the zone. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, he definitely got glimpsed. So, a nice pick. But now they also know that there is going to be offensive warding at the very least, because there's no other reason that he would be there. So probably going to see a Sentry and a couple of de-warding attempts done here by basically Unknown. And Burden's kind of in the woods, I guess, either trying to defend their ward placement or try to maybe position for Roshan. But I think that's a little bit far away for both teams. Neither team has any hero with lifesteal yet, and that's kind of a necessity if you want to go for an early Roshan.
Bottom lane, we're going to see Darkseer. He's going to surge himself away, but there's everything been dropped down. He's going to drop down the wall's defensive mechanism, but there's going to be the glimpse. He's going to be brought down into the Static Storm, cooldown, everything coming down onto the Darkseer. And that's going to be a very fruitful kill for the side. And Disruptor able to get himself that extra 500 gold from that one.
I just think that if this was a best of 3 series, Disruptor would be banned in game number 2. Yeah. Like, that hero has done so much work for basically Unknown this game. He's been involved in 7 of the 10 kills on the team. He hasn't died a single time. Like, Stomanin is just beasting right now.
Necroman in the mid lane. He's going to blink away. Relax was waltzing, and there's going to be a glimpse, though. They have got a Ravage if they want to use it here. Minus coming in as well, and it will come out just in time to catch the Earthshaker. Earthshaker did get out the Fissure, but it might not be enough to save Necro. No, it's not going to indeed. Necroman will go down here on the Queen of Pain. And again, some very nice Ravages coming out from Relax.
His timing has been on point. Both Ravages that I've seen so far have been pretty well timed. So Sing, though, in that time that we saw 2 heroes die on the side of Burden, he did manage to secure his Battle Fury, and now he's got Treads on top of that. He's going to go off map now as much as he can, try to continue his farm. That does mean that other heroes on Burden will start to be picked a little bit more frequently, like we just saw Sakshka and the Necroman go down. But I still think that's the lesser of evils when Sing can just free farm on the map and not be noticed, and maybe somebody else from the team takes the fall. I think that's okay for the time being, as long as Burden don't get picked off too many times. I
mean, ideally, to the side of basically Unknown, do they need to kind of look to take control of the dire jungle, get some wards out? Or, I mean, what do you do against the Sing Sing AM at this point? Do you just look to fight the rest of the team and look to come out on top every time? Or do you focus the anti-mage?
I think your fighting is still your strongest suit, for sure. So if you go in and you take some fights, you push tier 1 towers, that will automatically make Sing feel less inclined to farm his own woods, because as soon as that tier 1 safe lane drops, suddenly you have multiple avenues into the woods, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, I need more warding, or I need my team to start being more proactive to make me that space. So I think that pushing would be a good idea. But as of right now, you can see that Burden are actually the ones applying pressure.
Absolutely, jumping straight in here onto Relax. They're going to find the Fissure, and here we go. Static Storm's being dropped onto Necroman, and now he's stuck in the kinetic field as well. He's in a lot of trouble. They're going to go in on him here. They've got the Glimpse also. Stamana just bringing him back right into the center of it. The split up to follow up. Necroman will go down. Now the question is, can they find anything else down Minus? He's going to be able to blink away. Was being called out as well. So he gets out, but again, basically unknown there with the response and coming out on top.
It's interesting that the fight ended up so poorly for Burden because they even still have their offensive ward in the jungle. Like the D wards from basically unknown missed. Like they went 0 for 2. So I guess Come With Me TPing in the spot that he did kind of made basically unknown think that he might have placed a ward on the high ground, but it's just a standard middle of the woods ward. So the fact that that fight went poorly, not great, but I know why they're doing it. Like they're doing it to make sure that Sing isn't harassed. Like we saw, what, 4 or 5 heroes down there? That ward gives him the vision of, I can just farm, no worries for me. I'll continue making my way towards either the Manta style or the Vlads. I'm kind of leaning towards Manta first though, because I think his team's gonna need him. He needs Manta to be able to fight.
Indeed, in the world top lane. You're not going to see Arise. He's coming out pretty far here, and there are 3 members on the side of Bird Unite. And they're going to just jump straight in with the Echo Slam, the Fish to follow up, and he's going to get blown up there. Sing claiming the kill there with a Mana Void, and Arise just getting a little bit too greedy there with his placement.
I think that's what you call a got him moment. Just drop a couple of ultis on one hero that's worth a lot of money just to ensure that he goes down. But that's a really big kill. Even though he doesn't respawn that slowly because of the Bloodstone, taking away the charges is actually a fairly big deal. Like the mana regeneration from the Bloodstone, you get 200%, but you also get a lot of mana just from having the charges themselves, and that of course increases his farm speed. So the less charges he has, the longer respawns, and the less farming potentially he also has.
Return, the rest of the side are basically unknown. All 4 of them heading up to the top to apply some pressure onto this tier 1. And Arise, well, he's just been kind of left in the mid lane to pick up the slack. And looks like with this basically unknown, they might be able to take this one down. And it's all kind of a step towards shutting down the jungle of Sing by being able to apply the pressure on that top lane. And Arise, well, lucky to get away. The Minus was looking for the setup Fissure. Couldn't quite find it. Birdie United just choosing to apply the pressure here in the middle lane, and they will find the tier 1. More money for Sing here on this AM, and indeed with the Asher looks to be working towards that Manta, unless it's a casual Asher at this point.
Both teams are playing it well though. Basically, no one realized they have to push towers at some point. Like getting the tier 1s down is necessary, even just for the fact that being able to get easier Roches for having tier 1s alive for Burden is like unacceptable. They can't allow the AM to ever get an Aegis or the Queen to ever get an Aegis, because that means they can just continually play aggressive and make even more room for the AMs. So they push. Burden's reaction is, we know we can't really fight them 5 versus 5 because their AoE combo is just nuts. And we didn't have Shaker Echo up because we just use it top, but they want to go for a Rise.
They want to get a Rise, but Relax, he's there with the counter Ravage. They'll be able to burst down Necroman. Paris, he's in trouble as well. He pops the mech, he starts to run, but there's going to be the Glimpse there, bringing him back into Nico Baby here with the Rocket Barrage. He's going to try and run past the tower, but it looks like the tower will end up finishing him, and it certainly will. They get Darkseer as well here. And I got to say, these team fights time and time again, basically unknown. They just seem to be pulling it off better.
They didn't have Echo. I'm really kind of confused as to why they stuck around for so long. As soon as they traded for towers, I thought, they would farm a little bit, maybe move back to their side of the map, because it was obvious that basically we're going to start TPing home after a while. I don't really think that they would feel too confident going to tier 2s right now. But unfortunately, that was not the case, and Minot's living life on the edge here in the woods, just scouting out Nico Baby. They could TP one down, or you could just fissure randomly too, and give away that he's there. All right, so much for that gank.
I mean, Sing, in terms of iron build, he's picked up the Ogre Club on top of the Ashes, so I'd imagine going to go for that BKB then this game.
Yeah, the BKB is actually the safest choice in general. I was thinking about it after I said Manta, and then I'm looking at, like, Leshrac, how fast he kills the Manta, and then even just having Anchor Smash and stuff like that. The illusions don't really do anything for you. The only thing that you would be able to Manta really on the team is, like, Homing Missile and Glimpse if your timing is, like, perfect. And then everything else you're probably going to get hit by, so... I think the BKB is the de facto I want to help my team fight choice.
My notes there. Just get the Fissure out and blinks away. Pure Evil was looking for some action. And worth noting, Pure Evil on the Ogre doing pretty well. I mean, with 23 minutes in, he's coming up to just being about 600 gold away from a completed Agonist.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing work this game as well. He's always been on point, just making sure that he's following Shaman around for the glimpses, being able to follow it up. And the later the game goes, like having that extra disable is going to be huge. Just stopping the AM, for instance, when his BKB wears off, or just stopping the Queen from being able to blink away, being able to stagger those stuns for a longer period of time is very, very nice. But you're talking about Aghanims. I'm looking at Come With Me as well. He's got his Aghanims.
Yes, indeed, and well, Minus, they're going to bring him back in, just pushing Arise back over the fish. There's going to be a glimpse, though. They're catching out the Earthshaker. They're going to be able to get the Static Storm down before Minus can throw anything out of the side, bringing down the Earthshaker, and again, very nice correlations of skills being thrown out from basically unknown in perfect synchronization.
Disruptor, man, what a freaking hero. I actually think if they didn't have Disruptor on their team, that this game would be a lot different looking at this point. He even goes back for a Midas. Like, he's 208 Midas, right? Level 11, 25 minutes in. I wonder if he just goes straight Aghanims after this. I think it's maybe one of the better items you can buy in the situation, because having it against a BKB buying AM means that the AM almost has to BKB, like, immediately. And that can mean that sometimes your BKB usage isn't as efficient as you would want it to be during these fights. And against mass disables, which basically don't have, that's the kind of BKB that you want to, or Aghanims that you want to try to force out BKBs with.
Well, there we go. It's a bit of a record there. 17th hand of Midas ever. Out of 1615 pro, 1615 pro games. So.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's good because they're looking at this game and they're saying probably not going to end within the next like 20 minutes or so, unless something like some terrible team fight happens for one side and it becomes like a bad team fight into Roche, because we haven't even seen one Roshan drop yet and it's rolling up on the 26-minute mark. One bad engagement could spell disaster for either team just because of Roshan being involved. But both teams right now seeming like they just want to hit some creeps for a while.
Yeah, I mean, two big pickups going out for Burden United. We just saw them being pointed out. The fact that the Darkseer and the Anti-Mage both now have a completed BKB. Now, with these BKBs, do they look to fight or do they just kind of have them as a defensive mechanism? They'll just continue to farm and Sing he'll kind of look for his next big item before actively looking for the heroes basically on that.
It can honestly be either. Like, it's just whatever situation you find yourself in, right? Like, if Sing sees a team fight and he goes, I want to help, he can help with the BKB. That's a luxury that it gives you. Also, it protects you from getting ganked. Now, since he already has his Yasha and his Battle Fury, he's got the two items that he needs to accelerate his farm rate. And oh god, Necroman.
Ooh, they're not going to be able to find the glimpse this time. Necroman just able to get out of range. Continue to try and pursue here into their own jungle, but they don't have any vision in this point, and Necroman will get the blink off, and he'll be able to TP himself back out there. So, a bit of smoke action there from basically unknown. Not working out this time.
I was very fortunate that he was standing where he was. Just on the high ground, breaking the smoke. That's, I think, the second failed smoke so far from basically unknown in this game. I mean, they have a kill lead too, but you can look at the net worth. It's reflecting the fact that Sing has not been pressured as much in the past, like, maybe 10 minutes or so as he was during the laning phase. And I mean, heck, they only managed to kill him 2 times. That's not really enough. Like, you either need to pressure the map a lot, or you need to kill the AM a lot. One of those two things needs to happen.
Dealing with about 3.5k net worth advantage against the Nico baby, Jara. They've got to do a lot if they want to try and close that gap. They're going to need to look for a lot of successful fights. And I mean, at the moment, 28 minutes in, we're not seeing that much fighting, because I kind of feel that Burden United, at least, they're very happy with kind of sitting back and just progressing. But at the same time, I don't think basically unknown, they're not going to be too scared if it goes too late.
It's not like a guaranteed win for Burden if the game goes late. That is true. Because Tidehunter can always go back to things like the pressure. You can get your Aghanims up on your Disruptor. Those items do make a significant impact in the game, without a doubt. I'm just wondering, how are they ever going to go high ground or be able to group up as 5 in the late game? Because on paper, if you look at the team fights, it could go either way. Like, I could see either team winning in like a 60-minute game team fight. But are Burden ever going to give basically unknown the team fight opportunity? That's the problem. Because if the AM already has BKB, they're pushing out lanes. They have Come With Me, who can permanently recall Sing to any point on the map. That becomes a huge nuisance. It becomes a split push game. And that game, Burden win.
The gem's going to be picked up now from the Disruptor, so they're going to look to try and maintain some of this map control, which is it's going to be hard though against the side of Burden United. Obviously, Coddle with the axe. Did Coddle pick up an axe? Yeah, he's got a gem on himself as well, so
yep.
It's going to be a bit of a vision war now between the two sides.
A Coddle gives you a huge advantage during the day in the Vision War, because you just like, oh, I see a ward like 8 million range away, because they pretty much have Night Stalker vision during the day. It's very, very strong, and could see a fight break out here.
Rise, he's going to get caught out by the fish, and Burden United, they've got the full 5-man following it up as well. Sing blinking forward, but he's not actually going to get in range here, and there will be a very nice glimpse there from Sturman, and from the Fog of War, getting Sing back away from Arise. Now Minus blinks forward, and it looks like Arise. Oh, he's got the backup here of the Ravage. They're trying to turn this one. Sonic Wave coming out. Static Sword's being dropped, and he catches 360, pops the BKB. He's able to get himself out, but they've lost Paris. They might lose more. Here's Minus taking a lot of damage from the Rocket Barrage. Nico Babe's going to try and chase that down, and with the right click from Sturman, and they'll find 2. There's a 2-for-1 1 so far. Blinky 4 from Relax. He gets the gush to come with me. Come with me. Actually calls Sixing back into it. There will be the glimpse to send him back into the jungle. Bit of a weird play there from Come With Me. I think Sixing was like, what are you doing, son? And now the rest of basically unknown. They're looking for more Blink forward from Tidehunter. Come With Me looks for the TP out. He's not going to make it. Double kill for Nico, baby. And it ends up being a 3-for-1 trade in what was an absolute mess there for Burden United.
Dem Ravages. That's all I'm going to say. Relax has been on point with his Ravages this game. And also, Sing did not manage to get his BKB off in time for when the Ravage came out because he pretty much blinked like on top of him. So your reaction time has to be like insane. Just snap. You have to pop it immediately. And by that point, Sing was already at, what, 10% health? Yeah, and then he had to bail. Like, he had to pop his BKB solely to run away. And when that happens, you just can't do anything anymore. Like, the fight is already lost. Had Sing maybe BKB'd before that Ravage comes out, I could have seen that being a different engagement. Now, Sing also finishes his Manta after the fight is over on the Courier while he's running away. So having the Manta during the next engagement could also be a pretty big impact item that we're looking at, especially if he's able to jump on that Leshrac and get some auto attacks off and turn him into that bomb that we were speaking of at the drafting phase. But I guess Arise is going to have a 10-second BKB for the next engagement as he has enough money for that as well. Game's still pretty much either team can take it. I think that because of the fact that Sing had to buy BKB, his rat game isn't as strong as it would be normally right now. Like, if that BKB was even a Basher or like halfway to a Butterfly, he'd be able to split a lot more effectively, but he's going to need more time before he gets to that point now.
We're seeing on Nico, baby, now, thanks to that fight, the completed Monkey King bar is going to be out on its way. So this Gyro in these fights, he's going to be dealing a lot of damage. And with the amount of control that basically Unknown have to keep Burden United together, with the Kinetic Field, the Static Storm, the Ravage, that's a lot of time for this Gyro to be chipping away.
As if he gets his entire Flak Cannon off during a team fight, I mean, that's 6 extra hits, each doing like 260 damage apiece. That is very, very scary. The big thing for Burden is the Shaker and the team fights is going to be integral to them winning it. If he can get a good Echo, like even 2 heroes is good enough, I think, at this point. Kind of what Relax did during the last engagement. Just get 2 high priority targets. You could probably walk away with a win on top of your Darkseer wall and a good vacuum. But if that doesn't happen, it's going to be a bit tough. And then you're relying very heavily on Necroman and Sing to just carry you through with their core item pickups.
We're seeing the Ogre Club on Quack now. Necroman picking up a BKB, and I think BKBs, they're going to be massive. It's going to be all down to kind of the durations, the cooldowns in these fights, because there's so much magical damage and control coming out from both sides.
Yeah,
it's kind of be who gets caught out on the back foot in terms of BKBs when they jump on each other.
But those are the best kinds of games, right?
Yeah.
The games where it's pretty much decided solely by the team fights themselves and who plays better in those fights. That to me is like the best Dota to watch.
Absolutely. I mean, it's 18-10 and Roster, man, and he's going to find Paris here. Paris just pops the BKB and will CP himself out. Picks himself up a Blink Dagger as well. So Burden United, they have got a lot of initiation and, of course, counter-initiation if basically Unknown look to jump on them.
Yeah, their team is actually disgusting, let's be honest. Like, Disruptor with Tidehunter, the amount of follow-up stuns that they already have, Gyrocopter as a core as well. Very, very strong lineup. I think basically Unknown have adapted quite well to the kind of style of this particular patch, because the last time we saw them, they were still picking the same old stuff that they were picking from 6.83. But they've kind of come full circle, even as a team who might not have practiced as much. Still very impressed.
Sting's going to 3.2k gold now on him. What do you reckon he'll go for next?
Well, I think he's either probably going to go for Butterfly or Basher.
Oh, they got the glimpse onto Necroman, but Necroman's just going to turn around and look to take down Shaman, and he's going to find it. Pure Evil here with the multicast, controlling Necroman, keeping him in the Static Storm, and now with the follow split up, they do find the Quap, and I think that's a trade that basically Unknown they're going to be happy with, Quap for the Disruptor.
Yeah, that one for sure. Like, any day of the week they'll take that, even though, unfortunately for Shaman, it's his first death of the game, so we'll have to have a moment of silence for him. I think it's actually amazing that in a 33-minute game, he's only died 1 time. I don't know, that's kind of crazy, given the lineup that Burden have. Their mobility is still very high, so being able to catch out a Disruptor shouldn't be so difficult to do. But either way, yeah, getting Necroman off the board is going to be to their advantage. But as far as Sing's items, he did go for the Basher, so I was kind of assuming it would be one or the other. I think the Basher might be the more fighting-oriented choice. It still gives you damage, of course, which allows you to push. But the more important thing is it transitions into Abyssal, which will be fantastic for catching out a Rise. And I think that's what he wants to do in every single fight. Either the Gyro or the Lesh. You kind of have to go on him.
Okay, I mean, Roshan, it's going to be spotted out. They know it's there. I mean, we haven't really seen anyone try to contend it at this point. But it's now keeping themselves together. Maybe they go for a bit of action here. Have they got the smoke? Where it is? There it is. Here we go from the side of base and then they're going to try and look for a bit of funny business. Birdie United at the moment, they're kind of fairly spread out across the map. This could be a good chance to find a pickoff. Towards the bottom, we're seeing My Nuts and Paris sticking together, but now it's going to be a smoke into Roshan. And we're going to see basically them try and get away with it. And, well, the amount of damage that this gyrocopter's doing, they could very well do this pretty quickly.
Yeah, they kill it very fast. No TP's coming in yet from the side of Bird, and it seems like they're not really sure. Okay, now they know. They definitely do now. Come With Me's coming down here. I believe Necroman is also making his way over. There was a ward in the pit, but I don't think that one actually saw them smoke. I think they just kind of knew what was going on, considering Sing has not been ganked yet, and he's sitting in top lane, getting close to the tier 3 tower. So...
Indeed, looks like Sing Sing's going to be happy with keeping on the pressure, and well, basically Unknown, they really want to try and find this Roche before backing out. Paris has come in, but the BKB's been popped by the side of basically Unknown. They want to fight into this, the wall's being dropped, which is going to break up the fight, and it looks like basically Unknown, they're backing off. Now the question is, do they double back? Minot's blinking forward, finds a very nice Fissure, and in fact, the side of basically Unknown is getting thrown back over it. Relax, he's looking for a Ravage opportunity.
Their base is dying.
No one quite finding a jump, and Sing Sing on the meanwhile. Indeed, he's going ham. They might find the kill onto Paris. There's going to be a Sonic Wave onto Arise, bringing him low, but now with the Ravage catching out the Quap and the Cottle, Arise will now TP back to the base. It looks like Relax is going to return as well, but the tier 3's down, and they've already lost the melee racks here on the top lane, so basically Unknown, are they going to be a bit cheesed off with that?
Well, not only that, but because they have a Cuddle on their team, they immediately recall Sing into the pit, and they're going to get Roshan off of this, plus completed Abyssal on the anti-mage. So that was just being outmaneuvered, honestly. Like, Burden, they played that beautifully. Sing realized that they were in the Roshan pit pretty quickly. Come With Me teleported down. The communication was just synced. They said, keep pushing the lane. If we need you, we can call you in. If we don't need you, then you can just get the racks for free. And they just chase him because they know if they stop any TPs, it allows Sing to get the racks for free. And even in the situation that basically Unknown turn around and start fighting, as long as Burden don't give away the Roshan fight, then they're fine, because Sing still does a significant amount of damage to the base. So all in all, brilliant performance out of Burden so far in this game. I think that particular move might have put basically Unknown in a spot that they did not want to be in. Like, being a racks down against a farm AM is like a nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point as well, with Birdie United's lineup, how hard is it going to be for them to break the base when basically Unknown are actually there with a high ground defense?
Well, with Shaker Spam, Ion Shells, Keeper of the Light, it's going to be hard. Like, there's... The other thing, too, is can they even get to the base? That's the question that I was kind of posing earlier in the late game scenario, where you mentioned you could see either team winning a fight. The fight isn't really up for debate anymore. It's just Burden are going to look for these smaller engagements. They're going to let Sing continually push. He'll probably make his way to bottom at some point instead, and then have his team pushing out mid and top, because you always want to split push the lanes that are farthest away, because it takes the team longer to react to, unless they're going to bring a TP. But when that starts happening, Burden aren't going to be looking for 5 versus 5 engagements. So I'm not sure if basically Unknown are going to get that chance.
Sing Sing going, and he wants to find this one. The BKB has been popped by Arise. Relax is there as well to back up the left trap, but Sing Sing blinking forward. He wants the kill, and he won't find it though, because there's going to be the Bloodstone Suicide. Sing Sing will back up, but at least he's able to force that one out of Arise.
Yeah, the Mana Void was a little bit questionable, but I mean, a kill is a kill. Doesn't really matter if it's a suicide or not, and they just pull him bottom, and now they're just going to kill Shtomanen on top of this.
Yeah, straight onto the Disrupt. He melts. There's going to be the Fissure connecting onto Pure Evil. He's got nowhere to run as the Sonic Wave from Necroman flies through as well. That's going to be 3 heroes on the sideline for the side of basically Unknown, and we've seen how fast Birdie United can push, and this could very well be a second set of racks in a lot of trouble.
Well, they don't have any buybacks, but they do have Glyph. I don't know with a Gyrocopter's damage alone and a Ravage if they're going to be able to stop the entirety of Burden with an Aegis on their AM. I think this is actually just double racks for sure.
Now Sing Sing just jumps straight into Nico Baby. He's going to put the BKB and now trying to turn around here with a flat cannon hits. It's going to force Birdie United back. But, well, back to hitting the racks as Sing Sing gets on with it. And they will be able to find here this second set of melee racks here on the bottom lane. And, well, maybe even looking for the range. He might even look for a rise here. The Abyssal Blade gets dropped down, and in Minus blinking forward. They want to bring it down. Fissure onto 2 with the Illuminate flying through as well. They're getting very low. And now with the Echo Slam catching both of them. They've lost 1. They've lost 2. Nico Baby to fall as well. He's down for 73 seconds. Has not got buyback. We could be looking at the very, very ending of this game now as Birdie United, they'll look to take this tier 2 and maybe even Megas.
The last thing for basically Unknown that they have going is their tier 2 middle is actually alive right now, so it gives them a little bit of time. Is it going to be enough, though, for Nico Baby and Arise to both be alive? I'm just not sure. Right now, it's still only 3 heroes. They have not used their Static Storm yet. They haven't used Ravage, and they still have both available if their cores are actually alive for this push. But otherwise, with no Glyph, the damage from Sing might just be too much.
Absolutely, with the fights we've been seeing so far, I want to see another kind of final stand from basically unknown, but with these two key heroes on the sidelines still, I don't know if we're going to see it before the end of the game. Sing Sing, he's actually going to get glimpsed back here, and well, he just blinks it off and heads back to work here onto the tier 3. 24 seconds until Nico Baby's back. Maybe we will see him put in one final defense. It's going to be a hard one, and Sing Sing, well, he's ready to try and clear up. People going straight in onto Staman, and Minus there with the Fisher. They'll be able to find the Disruptor. And it's already going to be a final team fight with one man down, and maybe against Megas as well. Sing Sing's going to look for the melee, and oh, all right, popping the BKB. There's going to be the very nice Ravage from Relax there, but Necroman's there, and Sing Sing just gets to work. He just right-clicks the heroes. He brings down a Rise. GG. Well, NN is going to be called by Rise. GG there, Stamana with the translation. And Burden United, ladies and gentlemen, win the first best of one of today, and will be progressing to the winner's bracket to play against the winner of Na'Vi versus NIP.
A very well-deserved win from Burden. I kind of thought the AM might be punished at the beginning of the game. The Coddle ended up being huge to make sure that their tri-lane didn't just get completely dismantled, you know? But I gotta say, all in all, that decision around the Roshan fight, just continue pushing out the top lane, make sure that his thing needs to be recalled back into the fight, you can do that. I think basically Unknown at that point felt like they needed to go for a Hail Mary, and if that didn't work, then it was just gonna become a split push game that they were never gonna be able to win.
I think you just got dubstep the hell out, Draskell.
I did.
I mean, that was extreme there. Someone dropped the base a few times. But Burden United, they win and take it down Basically Unknown. It's not the end of the road for Basically Unknown, of course. Nope. They will go down to loser's bracket. They will get a chance to play the best of 3 against the loser of NIP versus Na'Vi. But as you said, at the end of the day, the fact that Sing Sing was left to his own devices meant they had this incredible pushing power and fighting power at the end of the day. And it was just too much. I mean, if you kind of pick off, you know, getting the Nico Baby Jar in a situation where he can't come back to fight for 70 seconds, when the team's on your racks, it's not a great position to be fighting from.
Yeah, definitely not. It was just a really, really solid performance from everyone on the side of Burden. I don't think that anyone had a particularly poor game. I mean, I guess the only thing was Necroman missed an ulti, but that was about it. I mean, other than that, it was just like everyone's on the same page. It's like we gave away a couple of kills at the beginning. Yeah, it was a bit of a bummer, but we knew our game plan, we stuck to it, and we won.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. I mean, any kind of shout? Well, who would you say, looking at the player list, anyone that you felt as for you was the MVP?
Well, I mean, I thought that Stomanen played an amazing early game. Even though he was on a losing team, I would still say that out of everyone, like, he was always exactly where he needed to be. He was involved in like 80% kill participation for a very long time. He hadn't died at all until past 25 minutes. I thought that he played a phenomenal disruptor that game.
Indeed, and well, obviously on the side of Burden United, at the end of the day, looking at the Sing Sing's farm, over 700 GPM. He was having a pretty good time at the beginning, at least in the laning stage, and then just the fact that once you get that Battle Fury, if you're unable to shut down the AM, he's going to be an issue that's just going to grow and grow. There's no stopping the AM at a certain point. As Sing Sing proving that at the end of the game, pretty much single-handedly just jumping on heroes and taking them down. But, you know, obviously, Minus as well with the Earthshaker, kind of for the rotations early on, you know, enabling the mid lane to go as well as it did, you know, after a bit of a rough start. But it was good stuff from the side of Burden United, and fair play to Basically Unknown for putting up a good fight and giving us some very entertaining team fights. And, well, Draskell, anything more to say as we talk about the game?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to doubt third pick AMs anymore after watching that, but I think a lot of it, and the reason why it worked, was solely because of the Coddle. I mean, we talked about it a few times during the game, but there is no other hero that can do as much as Come With Me did in that particular lane for the AM, because most other heroes just don't have the damage output or don't have the ability to use their spells as often as a Keeper of the Light does. So not only the fact that he helped win his top lane for his team, forced the rest of Basically Unknown to go towards bottom, he also had the potential to stack the jungle. Minuts had a very early blink. I'm pretty sure that was because between him and stacking and being able to use Chakra and Soul Ring, he was like having a dagger that early just means that there's already more pressure out on the map favoring their side, and also means that the more pressure they can apply, the more space Sing gets, and that just translates into a very happy anti-mage. And at the end of the day, it seems like that's all they needed to win.
Indeed, indeed. And I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, do you think we could see some more anti-mage in this tournament, or is it always one of those picks that's very situational?
Well, I do think that AM is a hero who is situationally useful, and after having it it worked here as a third pick. So, I mean, obviously, if it can work here, it can work anywhere. So, hopefully. I mean, we got the bald thing going.
Absolutely, you have indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, we are going to now send you over to Jess, who's going to speak to a member of the winners, BU, and a member of the losers, BU. But myself and Draskell, we'll see you about.
That's right. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry about that feedback. Thank you so much, Odie. Now, Come With Me was just saying that I should do this in Romanian. Unfortunately, I think we're going to do it in English, if that's okay. So at what point did you feel that you had taken the win for that last game?
Well, I think through the whole game, we knew we win if we can keep the split push up. And the longer the late game goes, we win pretty much.
Great. And so now you're going to go on to face either Navi or Ninjas in Pajamas, the winner of that. How are you feeling going into that?
I think we're confident against NIP, and then Rush and Dota is a bit awkward for us, so I'm not sure about that, I guess.
Great.
NIP, preferably. NIP.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much and congratulations. So how are you feeling now? I know that's not the way that you were obviously hoping the game would go, but how's your confidence going into the losers bracket?
We're all right. Like, we didn't play for like 2 months. And we don't know what to do. Like, we just run around, get kills, play 4-man Dota from minute 5. I don't know, just playing for fun, I guess. We're trying to win, but we're getting out. Like, enemies have more experience than us, and like sometimes we don't know what to do.
And where do you think that you could have improved in that last game, or what do you think kind of went wrong?
I think our aggro try went really wrong. Like, I don't know how, like, we had no farm on Gyro at all, and Anti-Mage had more farm than him. Like, we killed Coop with 1 hero, but that doesn't mean they should lose top. Like, I don't know what happened. I need to watch the replay. And the Roche thingy was really bad because we were getting split push by Anti-Mage. But even then, I don't know how we end the game. Like, we need to kill the Coddle, and then we can end the game because he will blast every wave.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and good luck later today. We're going to go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break, and then after that, it'll be back with Shiver and the analyst desk.